my guzzlers, I'm going to make some chocolate brownies. But these aren't just ordinary chocolate brownies, these are going to be flavoured with tahini. So to start with, I've got a pan of water that's just coming up to the boil, and into that I've got some dark chocolate. This is about 80% cocoa or chocolate or whatever, and I've got, how much from that? 200 grams. I forgot how much of that I've got. So we're going to put that into that bowl because we want to melt that down. And I've also got some very soft butter because it is very warm here at the moment. I've got 200 grams of that, and so that's going in there as well. And then we just want to let that heat through and all melt. So as usual with this, this is the bowl we're going to do the final mixing, so I've got my big one, but it should sit above the water, don't let it sit in the water, and we just want, like I say, to get that all melted and mixed together. Now you're going to want 4 medium-ish eggs, okay, that we're just going to beat together. You want 2 different types of sugar. We've got caster sugar, 200 grams, and then I've got 80 grams of dark muscovado sugar. So that's ready to go. We want to add a little bit more chocolate. So I've got some cocoa powder there, 50 grams, and as it happens, it's exactly what I had left in the tin. So I'm going to buy some more of that. And then I've got some ordinary plain flour, 100 grams of that. So the only other missing ingredient is my tahini, and I've got 4 tablespoons of tahini there, and I've also got 2 teaspoons of sort of sea salt flakes or whatever. They're not really flakes, but they'll do. And that's all it is. Now I've got my oven on, heating up to 160 fan, 180 if not, and I've got a lined baking tin. This is slightly bigger because basically this is the only one I've got that's similar size, but you'll want one that's about 10 by 6, or about 2 inches. Okay, and I've lined that with greaseproof paper. Okay, you can grease the tin as well if you want before you put the paper in, but I don't really see the point of that. So, can't do anything now until that's all melted together. So that's all melted, so remove that from the heat, and now at this point we're going to add in the 2 sugars and get them all mixed in there with it. Now I've got me little sieve there. The muscovados I have to watch because it is quite like a damp sugar, if you like, so it tends to be a little bit sort of lumpy. So I'm just trying to press out any lumps I've got in there. So that's the sugar all in there. So at this point we're going to add the egg and switch to a bigger mixer, if you like, bigger spatula, because we now want to get the cocoa powder and the flour into there, and then we're just going to fold that in, and that's it. Now we've still got to get our tahini in there and our salt, but that's after we've mixed this together. So that's the batter all mixed together, nice dark rich looking chocolatey mess. You need to give it a good scrape, and then, like I say, we're now going to transfer that to that lined tin. So that's spread it out as best I can. So now we take our tahini and we want to sort of drizzle that over the top. Does seem a lot of tahini here given that this is actually a bigger pan than it's suggested. And then all we want to do is swirl it again. Not the easiest of things to do given that quantity of tahini. And our final touch is to take that salt and just sprinkle it over the top. I think that will do. Now that's going to go in the oven to cook for about 25 minutes. What we want it to be is getting a crust around the outside, still slight wobble in the middle, and then we'll be bringing it out and letting it cool completely before we cut it. And this should make about 24 brownies. So I checked on that after 25 minutes and I thought it wasn't quite there. So I've given it an extra 5 minutes and we're just coming up to that now. So let's get it out the oven. And we're now just going to leave it to cool. Notice we are getting a bit more of a crust. I can hear it bubbling away. Might just double check it how wet that is in the middle and possibly slip that back in there a few more minutes. So I've checked it with the skewer and actually that is cooked. So what we're going to do now is just leave this on the wire rack to cool a little bit and also turn the oven off, save energy, and then we'll be removing it and cutting it. Okay, but we need to let it cool for a little bit. I'll lift it out the pan shortly and then we can taste it. I've trimmed the edges and now I'm just cutting this. It is still quite warm as such inside, and then what we're going to do is obviously leave these to cool a little bit further, but in the meantime these are the edge bits, so shame to waste it, isn't it? Very chocolatey. There is a salt, excuse me, there is a saltiness. Some of these bits have still got salt flakes on. Some of them I think are sort of dissolving into the tahini. So the saltiness is a little bit hit and miss. One bite, none. Another bite, you get a little bit. I must admit most of this hasn't got tahini on these bits. A smidgen on there. But there we go. Your tahini chocolate brownies. Gonna be eating some of them later.